So leads die into the story of Manasseh.
His early reign kicked off with a bang, full of reforms that had everyone thinking he was the next big thing. But wait, he quickly flipped the script and ditched his dad's legacy of faith. Instead, he dove headfirst into pagan practices, shaking the very foundations of worshipping Yahweh.
Now, things got pretty messy. Manasseh's actions and shockwaves trug the people of Judah.
Some jumped on the bandwagon of his new paganism, while others quietly held on to their beliefs. This split created a whirlwind of confusion and fear, and you could just feel the tension in the air. But hold on to your hats, because it gets even wilder. One of the most jaw-dropping acts was when he sacrificed his own children. Yup, you heard that right. This horrifying act showed just how far he had fallen, igniting God's anger and highlighting the moral decline of his reign.
And you know what?
The practice of child sacrifices under Manasseh was seen as the ultimate abomination. It not only provoked God's wrath, but also led to a complete social and moral decay in Judah. Families were ripped apart, and communities were in total chaos. But it wasn't just chaos at home. Manasseh's reign had major political fallout too. Judah became isolated on the world stage, and the legitimacy of David's throne was hanging by a thread. This period severely stained Judah's reputation, turning what used to be a stable and pious kingdom into a cautionary tale. Still, in the midst of all this darkness, there were brave souls holding on to their faith. A faithful remnant preserved the worship of Yahweh and the sacred scriptures, clinging to hope for righteousness while evil seemed to reign supreme. Their courage was a bright spark during such tough times. Manasseh wasn't just leading the people astray, he was setting the bar for sin even lower, committing acts that were worse than those of the Amorites. This warranted some serious backlash, and the consequences had been prophesied by God through his messengers.
Take Isaiah, for instance.
He faced extreme persecution under Manasseh, embodying the harsh reality of prophetic warnings during a time when most of the nation turned their backs on God. His martyrdom served as a powerful testament to the price of staying faithful amidst such fierce opposition. And even after Isaiah's life came to an end, his words didn't fade away. They kept echoing throughout generations, inspiring hope for restoration and redemption, even as Judah plunged deeper into darkness.
In a shocking twist, Manasseh rebuilt pagan altars right in Jerusalem.
He completely defied his father Hezekiah's reforms and welcomed a whole bunch of deities into the mix. This act was like a big middle finger to Yahweh and his exclusive worship. It didn't stop there. The introduction of divination, witchcraft, and star worship during Manasseh's reign was a move straight out of a campy horror movie, showcasing a cultural shift that aligned Judah with surrounding pagan nations. Talk about a complete 180 from Israel's spiritual roots. Manasseh's dabbling in the occult and placing idols in the temple was like throwing down the gauntlet against Yahweh's sovereignty. This act of desecration marked a major turning point in Judah's religious saga, forever altering their spiritual landscape. But here's the kicker: the roots of idolatry in Judah ran deep. Even after Josiah's reforms, it was clear that getting people to turn away from these ingrained pagan practices was going to be a massive challenge for spiritual leaders. Keeping faith alive was tougher than it sounded. Now, fast forward to Manasseh's capture by the Assyrians. This moment serves as a stark reminder of just how fragile human power is in the face of divine sovereignty. His humiliation as a prisoner hit hard, showcasing the consequences of defying God. But don't count him out just yet. After years of rebellion, Manasseh's genuine turnaround led to an avalanche of divine mercy. His return to Jerusalem stood as a powerful symbol of redemption, proving that no matter how far one falls, there's always room for a comeback. Manasseh's story teaches us a crucial lesson about actions and consequences. His poor choices spiraled into captivity, but his eventual redemption was a powerful reminder of accountability. Leaders have a monumental impact on their people, for better or worse.
And speaking of lessons, Manasseh's life mirrors a depth of God's mercy and grace.
He was forgiven and restored, despite a long history of rebellion. This just shows how genuine repentance can open doors to redemption. His determination to restore Jerusalem and wipe out idolatry showcases the uphill battle of spiritual reform. Even heartfelt efforts might struggle to erase deeply rooted practices, reminding us that change isn't always easy. In the end, Manasseh's late reforms shine a spotlight on the possibility of change and the power of divine mercy, despite the heavy chain of past actions. His saga brings hope that redemption isn't just a dream but a real possibility. Manasseh's legacy serves as a stark reminder of the challenge of wiping the slate clean from entrenched sin. Even with his reforms, the people clung to their old habits, highlighting just how tough transformation can be. Finally, this story drives home the importance of spiritual leadership, illustrating how a leader's actions can steer the spiritual direction of a whole nation. It's a heavy responsibility that shouldn't be taken lightly.